So, okay, in 1990s, Delhi ranked fourth among the 41 most polluted cities of the world. That is, among the 41 most polluted cities in the world, the Delhi ranked fourth place. That means it occupied the fourth place in having the highest air pollution. So air pollution problems in Delhi became so serious that a public interest litigation okay. So in 19 okay sir, air pollution problem in Delhi became so serious that a public interest litigation, okay, public interest litigation was filed in the Supreme Court of India. Okay, that means okay, some of the people, okay, has filed a case in the Supreme Court of India. Okay, the problem related is air pollution. That means okay, they have given some instruction to the government that okay, take some steps to reduce the air pollution in Delhi. So after being censored very strongly by the Supreme Court under its directives, the government was asked to take within a specified time period appropriate measures, including, okay, that means the Supreme Court has ordered the government of Delhi. So the government of Delhi, okay, that means the Supreme Court of India has ordered the government of India, okay, to take strict measures, okay, to control the air pollution within a short period of time. Okay, that means the okay, the government, okay, the Supreme Court of India has given a certain period of time. Within that period of time, you have to take proper measures to reduce this air pollution. So for that, okay, what this Delhi government has done means they included switching over the entire fleet of public transport, that is buses, from diesel to natural gas. That means the public transport, okay, the public transport in Delhi, okay, the public transport in Delhi were completely shifted from a okay, diesel to compressed natural gas. Why? Because in diesel, okay, if you use diesel as a fuel, some harmful gases may be released into the atmosphere. Some harmful gases may be released into the atmosphere because the diesel is not as much pure as that. Okay, because because of that, some unburnt hydrocarbons, and next some okay poison, okay, some harmful gases are also releasing into the atmosphere, and which is causing okay, more air pollution. So to reduce that effects of air pollution, okay, the government has ordered, okay, to change the public transport from diesel to compressed natural gas, that is CNG. So that okay, in CNG gas, the residues formed are carbon dioxide and water vapor. So the the air pollution is reduced a lot. That is, and next, all the buses of Delhi were converted to turn on CNG by the end of 2002. Okay, by the end of 2002, okay, the buses, all the buses are all the public transport were turned to CNG. Okay, that is, and next you may ask the question as to why CNG is better than diesel. The answer is that CNG burns more efficiently, unlike petrol or diesel. in the automobiles, and a very little of it is left unburned. So that means in case of petrol and diesel, a large amount of unburned hydrocarbons are released into the atmosphere, which is mainly which is responsible for causing higher air pollution. So instead of, so that's why we are shifting the vehicles from from diesel or petrol to CNG, because the CNG is fuel efficient fuel, so it burns and releases less amount of pollutants. And another thing is that moreover CNG is cheaper than petrol or diesel. CNG is cheaper than petrol or diesel and cannot be siphoned off by thieves and adulterated like petrol or diesel. When you observe the CNG is cheaper than petrol. 1 kg of CNG gas is around 20 rupees or 25 rupees nearly. And it is having more mileage. Now we can see the cost of the diesel is around 85 to 90 rupees, and the cost of petrol is around 100 rupees. But the mileage is for a car it will be around okay 20 to 25 kilometers per liter. And in the same manner, the 1 kg of CNG, which is cost around 20 to 25 rupees, will also have the similar mileage like 20 to 25 kilometers per kg. So the cost is also reduced. And another thing is that it cannot be adulterated. It cannot be adulterated because it is a gas, so it cannot be adulterated. And it can also be it cannot be theft. It cannot be theft because it is present in the form of gas, so it cannot be theft. So that is so because of all these reasons, they started using CNG as a fuel for transport of a public. That is. And next, the main problem with the switching over to CNG is the difficulty of laying down pipelines to deliver CNG through distribution points or pumps and ensuring uninterrupted supply. That means when you observe the diesel or petrol, we can transport through maximum, we can transport through tankers. Through tankers or so some other means we can able to transport. But the CNG, the transport of CNG, cannot be done by that. So we have to lay certain pipelines from the place where they are collected and to the place where to be distributed. So that laying of pipelines only a little bit problem with this CNG. To have uninterrupted supply. For providing uninterrupted supply. We have got this one. And next, simultaneously parallel steps taken in Delhi for reducing vehicular pollution, including phasing out of old vehicles, use of unleaded petrol, use of low sulfur petrol and diesel, and use of catalytic converters in vehicles, application of stringent pollution level norms for vehicles, etc. That is. And next, what are the other steps that have taken by the Delhi government to reduce the air pollution means? Removing the worn out or old vehicles which are not up to the mark of the present day standards. Because they do not have catalytic converter. They do not have the usage of unleaded petrol. So they produce more amount of unburnt hydrocarbons. They produce a large amount of unburnt hydrocarbon, causing more air pollution. So what the government has taken means that means those vehicles which are having older registration, Okay, that means those which are having older registration, they try to vanish. Okay, that means they discarded those vehicles, or even if any person is using such vehicles, they find a lot. Okay, they find him a lot. So that okay, that is and next use of unleaded petrol. Use of unleaded petrol, that is allocate petrol free, okay, that is lead free petrol and sulfur free diesel. Okay, because these are the major, okay, chemical substances which are causing damage to the air, okay, air, and causing more of air pollution. And next they are asking the, okay, the persons, okay, to be fit with the catalytic converter in their vehicles, so that the unburnt hydrocarbons can be completely burnt, and very less amount of harmful gases will be released into the atmosphere, okay, into the atmosphere. And next, application of stringent pollution levels, norms for vehicles. Okay, that is they are providing certain norms. Okay, every time we'll see, while we are moving here and there, we can observe some pollution. Okay, air pollution. Okay, pollution check. Okay, pollution check. Okay, one van will be there. Okay, it will be equipped with a certain material. Okay, certain machine. Okay, which will check the pollution. Okay, pollution. How much amount of pollution is it is releasing? So that is okay. That means regularly they have to check, and that has to be done for every 6 months. For every 6 months, we have to check the pollution rate of that vehicle, and that has to be okay. We have to show it to the, okay, this whoever checking this vehicles on the way. Okay, we have to show this pollution certificate. Okay, that the my vehicle is not causing air pollution at higher level. Okay, so such a very rules have been followed in Delhi to reduce this air pollution. And later, okay, the government of India through a new auto fuel policy has laid out a roadmap to cut down vehicular pollution in Indian cities. That means, okay, that means the Indian government has laid a roadmap. That means gradually they are changing the norms. Okay, that means once, okay, changing means it is not possible. So gradually they are changing the norms of the vehicles. For that they placed a roadmap to reduce the air pollution in cities in India, and more stringent, that means very strict norms for fuel means steadily reducing the sulfur and aromatic content in petrol and diesel fuels. So because of this strict rules, okay, gradually the, okay, that means there is steady gradual decrease in the sulfur and other aromatic pollutants in the atmosphere that are okay, released from this petrol or diesel. So okay, when you observe here, Euro 3 norms, okay, Euro 3 norms, for example, okay, stipulate the sulfur be controlled at 350 parts per million in diesel and 150 parts per million in petrol. Okay, this here ppm means parts per million. Okay, that means okay, according to the Euro 3 norms, how much amount of sulfur has to be present means, okay, it will be less than 350 parts per million in diesel and 150 parts per million in petrol. Okay, such diesel or petrol only used to be used or sold in the market. Okay, if any diesel or petrol, if it is having more than this, such diesel or petrol okay, should be banned. And such a, okay, such, okay, and the, okay, such a filling stations will be sealed. Those who are selling this petrol or diesel with higher than these values, that is 350 parts per million in diesel of sulfur, and okay, 150 parts per million of okay, sulfur in case of petrol. Okay, if this levels are more than in petrol or diesel, then such filling stations are sealed and they are not allowed to sell, sell such a petrol or diesel further. Okay, there is. And next, aromatic hydrocarbons are to be contained at 45% of the concerned fuel. That means, the hydrocarbons that are released here, here we are discussing according to the Euro 3 norms, not at present. According to the Euro, first they have started with the Euro 3 norms. At that Euro 3 norms, 350 parts per million, of sulfur in diesel and 150 parts per million of sulfur in petrol. And the hydrocarbon percentage should be less than 42%. Okay, such fuel only we have to use. Okay, and next, the goal according to the roadmap is reduce the sulfur to 50 parts per million in petrol and diesel and bring down the level to 35% of hydrocarbon. Okay, that is so that means what? Okay, the 350 parts per million according to Euro 3 norms, it should be at 315 parts per million in diesel and 150 parts per million in petrol for sulfur and 42% of hydrocarbons. But we are but our goal is to reduce the sulfur by 50 parts per million in petrol and diesel, and the hydrocarbon percentage should be reduced to 35. That is our goal. Okay, that is so we have laid a roadmap. Okay, how to reduce this one gradually. Corresponding to the fuel, vehicle engines will also need to be upgraded. That means according to the, the vehicles, the old vehicles are not efficient usage of fuel. They are not using the fuel efficiently. So what we have to do means we have to upgrade the vehicles also, so that the vehicle, the engines that are present in the vehicles will, we are able to use this fuel efficiently, can use this fuel efficiently, so that we can reach that levels. So mass emission standards, that is the some standards like Euro 3, later some mass emission standards have been done. That is the Bharat stage 2, Bharat stage 3, Bharat stage 4, Bharat stage 5. At present, Bharat stage 6 is running on. Okay, that is so gradually the values and the norms of petrol, diesel, and hydrocarbon percentage is gradually reduced according to this. So the Bharat stage 2, which is equivalent to Euro 2 norms, are no more applicable in any of the cities of India. So with the introduction of Euro 3, the Euro 2 norms were no more present. Okay, they will be completely done. Okay, and next, details of the latest. Okay, details of the latest. Okay, we can see here. So at present, Bharat stage 6 is running, but in our textbook, it has given up to Bharat stage 4 only. So here it is given only up to 2017, but now it is running with the 2021. Now it is gone with the Bharat stage 6. So what are the norms according to the Bharat stage 4? Okay, Bharat stage 4, that is the Euro norms 4. Okay, that is the types of, four-wheeler, four-wheeler automobile. Okay, Bharat stage 4 is throughout the country since April 2017. That means by 2017, all the four-wheeler vehicles has to be upgraded up to the levels of 4. And next, the three-wheeler vehicles, according to the Bharat stage 4, that means they have to reach the Bharat stage 4, throughout the country since the 1st April 2017. By 1st April 2017, that is the academic calendar. We generally call it as academic calendar from April to March, not from January 1st to January 1st. Okay, it will be April to March, it is considered as an academic calendar. So within that, that's why they have taken that 1st April, the economic calendar, we can say. Okay, throughout the country since 1st April 2017. By 1st April 2017, all the three-wheelers has to attain the bar stage 4. And at the same time, the two-wheelers also, okay, by the end of, okay, by throughout the country since April 2000, by April 2017, all the two-wheelers also has to attain Bharat stage 4. That means the old vehicles which are not upgraded, those to be discarded. Those should not be used. Okay, if the policeman, okay, that means if the, okay, road transport officers, if they, okay, if they when they are checking, if they find beyond, okay, if they are not up to the bar stage 4, simply they will fine it. Okay, like that, they try to reduce the air pollution. And next, thanks to the efforts made, the air quality of Delhi has significantly improved. Okay, that is then is okay. When you observe here, because of all these okay, efforts that were taken by the government of India, okay, as said by the Supreme Court of India, okay, the air pollution, okay, that means the air pollution gradually reduced. Okay, the air pollution gradually reduced. So according to the estimate, a substantial fall in carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide level has been found in Delhi between 1997 and 2005. So from 1997 to, okay, 2005, gradually the sulfur content and carbon dioxide levels that are present in the atmosphere has been gradually reduced with the efforts that were taken by the government of Delhi. Okay, that's how, okay, they have taken certain measures to reduce the air pollution. So okay, these case studies are very, very important. Okay, you have to be very thorough, okay, because okay, sometimes, okay, they will may ask questions related to this case studies only. Okay, and the next one is water pollution and its control. Okay, human beings have been abusing the water bodies around the world by disposing them in, okay, into them all kinds of waste. That means okay, we ourselves only the destroying the water bodies, okay, by discharging a lot of waste into the water bodies. As a result, the water bodies getting polluted because of the human activities. So we tend to believe that water can wash away everything, not taking cognizance of the fact that the water bodies are our lifeline, as well as that all other living organisms. Why we are discharging the waste material, okay, the waste, the different types of waste from, okay, the waste of the human, the waste of the industries, the waste of the domestic, okay, all they are discharged into the, okay, into the water bodies. Why we are discharging? That means we think that water can carry, okay, water can carry all this waste, because the, okay, the water in the river is flowing, so it will carry all the waste and it can be removed, but it is not correct exactly. Okay, that is and we are okay, the water is very, very important for our life. That is because even though there is a 90, okay, there is around 79%, okay, 79%, okay, of water is present in the earth. Only 21% of land and 79% earth, okay, okay, the water is present, but that is not all consumed. Only 3%, only 3% of the water is fresh water, And in that, okay, most of the water is present in the form of glaciers in Himalayas or in okay, polar regions. It is present as glaciers. Only 1%, less than 1% of water is present, okay, is only made available for our drinking purpose or for consumption. Okay, now, so less than 1% of water only we are making use of it, because remaining water we can't make use, because okay, remaining 1% is present in marine water. Marine water we can't drink. The salt water that is present in oceans and seas, okay, we can't drink. We have to drink only fresh water. Okay, that fresh water, most of the water is present in the form of glaciers. Only a few amount of water is flowing in the rivers. Okay, that is less than 1%. That is okay. So that's why we have to make okay, this water very, okay, make use of this water very carefully, because water is a lifeline. That means without water we can't able to live. Okay, can you list what all we tend to try and wash away through our rivers and drains? Okay, that is what are discharged into that is, okay, will real, okay, that means okay, the domestic waste. Okay, we are removing the, okay, sewage, okay, directly we are releasing the sewage water. Domestic waste, we are, okay, releasing the okay, the of the industries, industrial waste are directly discharged or drained into the rivers. So due to such activities of humankind, the ponds, lakes, stream, rivers, estuaries, and oceans are becoming polluted in several parts of the world. Okay, that means what is happening, whatever the waste that is released into the river, finally it will go and meets the sea, and finally the waste is getting accumulated in the seas and oceans. Okay, so all the water bodies are getting polluted. It may be the lake, pond, okay, pond or lake or stream or canal or a river, seas and oceans, okay, estuaries, everything is getting polluted. Okay, that is all the water is getting polluted. So realizing the importance of maintaining the cleanliness of the water bodies, the government of India has passed the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in the year 1974 to safeguard our water resources. Okay, that is when you observe, okay, so that means that to reduce the water pollution, Government of India has passed an act, that is the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in the year 1974, okay, to